Imagine being able to see the world through the eyes of a man who saw more than anyone before him. A man who recognized no boundaries between art and science, between dreams and reality. Leonardo da Vinci. Before Steve Jobs thought different, before Einstein reimagined physics, there was a Renaissance man who painted the Mona Lisa with the same hands that dissected human cadavers and designed flying machines. A man who lived 5 centuries ago yet thought in ways we're still trying to understand today. Learning never exhausts the mind. In the 15th century Italy, while most men were content to master a single trade, Leonardo's curiosity knew no bounds. Born in 1452 in the small town of Vinci, this illegitimate son of a notary would go on to become history's greatest example of human potential unleashed. While others lived in comfortable ignorance, Leonardo questioned everything. His notebooks contain over 13,000 pages of observations, questions, and ideas, ranging from anatomy to architecture, botany to ballistics. Consider this. In an age when most people believed what authorities told them, Leonardo opened corpses to see the human body with his own eyes. When the church and ancient texts claimed the heart had 2 chambers, Leonardo discovered it had 4. When others saw blood as a mysterious fluid, he mapped the entire circulatory system. And this wasn't even his profession. He was primarily known as an artist. What made Leonardo different wasn't just his genius, it was his relentless questioning. When he saw birds fly, he didn't just admire them. He obsessively studied their wing movements, skeletal structure, and weight distribution. This wasn't merely academic interest. He was trying to unlock the secret of human flight 4 centuries before the Wright brothers. Think about how radical this was. In a world where most knowledge came from ancient authorities like Aristotle and Galen, Leonardo trusted his own observations above all else. In his notebooks, he wrote, "He who has access to the fountain does not go to the water jar." Ask yourself, when was the last time you were truly curious about something? When did you last ask why like a child, without accepting the comfortable answers were given? In our information-saturated world, we've become consumers of knowledge rather than seekers of understanding. Leonardo's first secret: treat curiosity as your most valuable asset. The moment you stop questioning is the moment you stop growing. The greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions. Leonardo's sketches reveal something remarkable about how he saw the world. His drawings of turbulent water captured patterns that scientists couldn't verify until the advent of high-speed photography in the 20th century. His anatomical drawings were so accurate that modern medical professionals still consult them. How was this possible? Leonardo didn't just see, he observed. While others glanced, he studied. He would spend hours watching how light falls on fabric, how water flows around obstacles, how facial muscles create expressions. There's a story that Leonardo would spend entire days in the marketplace just watching people's faces, memorizing their expressions. When he found someone with an interesting feature, a crooked nose, a peculiar smile, he would follow them around, studying them from every angle before rushing home to sketch what he'd seen. In his notebooks, he instructed himself, look at the light and consider its beauty. Blink your eye and look at it again. What you see was not there before, and what was there is no more. This wasn't just artistic sensitivity, it was a commitment to seeing reality as it truly is, not as we assume it to be. When Leonardo painted The Last Supper, he created not just a religious scene, but a profound psychological study. Each apostle's reaction to Christ's announcement of betrayal reveals their distinct personality. This level of psychological insight was unprecedented in art, and it came from Leonardo's deep observation of human behavior. How much do you miss every day by looking without seeing? The patterns in the clouds, the subtle shift in someone's expression when they're hiding something, the way your own breathing changes with your emotions. Leonardo's second secret: slow down. Really look at the world around you. Most people live their entire lives without truly seeing what's in front of them. Leonardo was both an artist and scientist, both a dreamer and mathematician, both deeply spiritual and rigorously empirical. This embrace of contradiction defined him. When other artists studied anatomy superficially to improve their paintings, Leonardo performed over 30 human dissections to understand the body at its deepest level. When other engineers designed war machines for brutal efficiency, Leonardo incorporated aesthetic principles that made his designs both deadly and beautiful. He wrote from right to left in mirror image script, perhaps to hide his ideas from casual observers, or maybe because he was left-handed and didn't want to smudge his ink. He designed weapons of war while advocating for compassion toward all living beings. He studied death to better understand life. Leonardo's notebooks contained designs for tanks, helicopters, and automated weapons alongside exquisite drawings of flowers and fetuses in the womb. He could calculate the trajectory of a cannonball in the same notebook where he explored the proportions of the human face. In a world obsessed with specialization, Leonardo refused to choose. His greatest breakthroughs came precisely at the intersection of disciplines that others kept separate. When he studied birds to design flying machines, he wasn't just an engineer. He brought an artist's sensitivity to the way feathers caught the light and air. When he painted the Mona Lisa, he wasn't just an artist. He brought a scientist's understanding of how light scatters through the atmosphere to create that famous sfumato effect. We live in a world that forces us to define ourselves narrowly. What do you do? Is often the first question we ask when meeting someone new. We expect a simple answer. I'm a teacher, a programmer, a doctor. Leonardo's third secret: resist this pressure. The most innovative thinking happens at the crossroads between different fields, different mindsets, different ways of seeing. Don't define yourself by a single discipline or perspective. Consider that when Leonardo was painting the Mona Lisa, he was simultaneously designing a massive bronze horse sculpture, studying the flow of water, and developing his theories of geology. His mind moved fluidly between these projects, each one informing the others. The Mona Lisa wasn't painted in a day. In fact, Leonardo worked on it for approximately 16 years, continuously refining, adjusting, perfecting. Leonardo was notorious for his painstaking process. He would spend years on a single painting, adding microscopic layers of translucent glaze to achieve the perfect effect. His patrons often complained about delays, but Leonardo refused to rush. When the Duke of Milan pressed him to finish The Last Supper faster, Leonardo reportedly said he was still looking for the perfect face to model Judas after, and joked that if he couldn't find one, he might use the Duke's own face. His notebooks reveal countless iterations of his flying machine designs, anatomical studies, and engineering projects. He wasn't afraid to start over, to discard years of work if a better approach revealed itself. This persistence wasn't stubbornness, it was a profound appreciation for the process itself. Leonardo understood that mastery isn't achieved through bursts of inspiration, but through patient, methodical iteration. In our culture of instant gratification, where we expect immediate results from our efforts, Leonardo's approach feels almost alien. We abandon diets after a week, give up instruments after a month, switch careers at the first sign of difficulty. Consider that Leonardo's most famous works, the Mona Lisa, The Last Supper, The Vitruvian Man, came after decades of practice, experimentation, and failure. His early sketches showed talent, certainly, but nothing like the transcendent quality of his mature work. Leonardo's fourth secret: embrace the process. Excellence isn't an event. It's the result of thousands of small improvements, countless failures, and the courage to keep refining your work even when others would have called it finished. The noblest pleasure is the joy of understanding. Perhaps the most profound aspect of Leonardo's genius was his comfort with uncertainty and the unknown. Consider his approach to the famous Mona Lisa smile. Rather than definitively depicting a single expression, Leonardo created what art historians call charged ambiguity, a smile that seems to change depending on how you look at it. This wasn't a limitation of his skill, but a deliberate choice to capture the complexity of human emotion. Leonardo died with most of his questions unanswered, his projects unfinished, his greatest visions unrealized, and yet he lived one of the richest, most fulfilled lives in human history. Why? Because he understood that the journey of discovery is more valuable than any destination. He wasn't tormented by uncertainty. He was enlivened by it. In his notebooks, he wrote about know and don't know, not as absolute states, but as a continuous dialogue. He didn't measure his success by how many mysteries he solved, but by how many new mysteries he uncovered. Think about how different this is from our modern obsession with certainty, with having the right answer, with resolving every question. We're uncomfortable with ambiguity, with saying, "I don't know." We rush to judgment, to conclusion, to resolution. Leonardo's journals are filled with questions he never answered. How do birds maintain balance in flight? What is the precise mechanism of the human heart? How does a fetus breathe in the womb? Yet these unanswered questions didn't torment him, they energized him. Leonardo's fifth secret: don't rush to conclusions. Learn to live in the questions themselves. The richest life isn't one with all the answers, it's one filled with ever deeper questions. In the mountains near Leonardo's birthplace, there's a cave called Grotta del Vento, the Cave of the Wind. Local legend says that as a young boy, Leonardo ventured deep into this cave, driven by curiosity about where the wind originated. He went so far that his candle went out, leaving him in total darkness. Most children would have panicked. Leonardo later wrote that he experienced two competing emotions: fear that the darkness might hold monsters, and hope that it might hold some great secret wonder. Hope won out. He continued deeper into the cave. This story, whether literal or metaphorical, captures the essence of Leonardo's approach to life. He was willing to venture into the darkness of the unknown, driven not by certainty of what he'd find, but by wonder at what might be there. 500 years after his death, we're still standing on Leonardo's shoulders, still learning from his example. Not because he was superhuman, but because he showed us what's possible when we fully embrace our human capacity for wonder, observation, and persistent growth. What if you approached your life with Leonardo's mindset? What if you treated curiosity as sacred? What if you observed the world with fresh eyes? What if you embraced contradiction instead of fearing it? What if you committed to the patient pursuit of excellence? What if you learned to love the questions themselves? Consider this: Leonardo accomplished what he did without formal education, without the internet, without even basic scientific instruments. He had only his eyes, his hands, his mind, and his relentless drive to understand. You have all of that and more. You have access to knowledge Leonardo couldn't have dreamed of. You have tools he would have considered miraculous. The only thing you might lack is his approach to life and learning. Leonardo once wrote, "Iron rusts from disuse, stagnant water loses its purity, and in cold weather becomes frozen. Even so does inaction sap the vigor of the mind." His life was a testament to the power of active engagement with the world, of never allowing your mind to settle into comfortable certainty. You may not paint the next Mona Lisa or design flying machines, but you can live with the same spirit that animated history's greatest genius. Remember, greatness isn't about having extraordinary abilities, it's about bringing extraordinary attention to ordinary life. If you found value in today's exploration of Leonardo's mind, Consider how you might apply these 5 secrets in your own life. Cultivate insatiable curiosity. Ask questions that others don't think to ask. Practice deep observation. See what others merely look at. Embrace contradiction. Live at the intersection of different ways of thinking. Commit to persistent iteration. Fall in love with the process of improvement. Learn to live in the questions. Find joy in the journey, not just the destination. Pick just one of these principles to practice this week. Notice how it changes your experience of the world around you. Until next time, learn from the past to create an extraordinary future. I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do.